What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna do something a little bit different than normal. So comment down below, what do you guys think of this video style and how everything is laid out? So please comment down below, give me your feedback, yay or nay, is this good, bad? In between, let me know. So here's the thing, we do a lot of new car reviews on YouTube. You see the brand new cars that we're filming all the time doing review videos on. We get a lot of comments of people saying that we don't really ever say the negatives about those cars, and that is correct. We don't really do that. When we review a new car, whether it's from a dealership or from a friend who just bought something brand new, we don't go into the negatives. Mainly, our main reason for not doing that is because we're not necessarily the target audience for whatever car we're reviewing. So if I'm filming like a four-door sedan or something, I'm not their audience. I'm not interested in buying one of those cars anyway. So for me to say anything that I don't like about it is kind of irrelevant because I'm not the audience for that car. A big diesel truck, same thing. I'm not buying one right now. I'm not interested in one. Anything I would say is just kind of pointless. So we try to keep our reviews unbiased and simply show you this is the car and here's everything good about it. If you are interested in buying it, go check it out for yourself and come up with your own list of things you don't like about it. So that's kind of why we're not doing that in our review videos. So then today's video is going to be something that I think I can do on a lot of cool cars that we film. So cool cars, like today we're doing the 2020 Corvette C8, and of course the review, kind of unbiased, showing the car, what it's like and all the good things about it. So these kind of videos, sitting at home, got the green screen on, just will play the video in the background. Basically, I'll go into my honest opinions as me, if I were to buy it, kind of my own real opinions on the car inside and out, and go over everything good and bad of my own opinions, even if I'm not looking to buy the car or not, but still going into it as a car in the industry, the goods and the bads. So anyway, comment down below, what do you guys think of this idea? So now let's get into it. So we're gonna play my 2020 Corvette C8, the mid-engine Corvette review video on the green screen, which you're probably seeing it right now. So you might be seeing double right now, but honest review of it. So I guess we're gonna start off with the way it looks on the outside, that we're at the outside of the car right now. Honestly, it looks insane. The front end of it looks amazing. It does look like a Corvette. I've seen them side by side with the C7. I was at the dealership yesterday. They had an Elkhart blue C8 Corvette and a C7 Corvette. And seeing those two cars together, they look the same in the sense of they're both Corvettes. Hands down, unmistakable, that is a Corvette. But I like how, because it's a mid-engine layout, it's flip-flopped and it just takes the styling to a whole new level. Like right there, this shot of it, that is insane looking. The only thing I'm not 100% on is the rear end. I'm like 95% there. There's some things to the back that I think could be sculpted just a little bit better, but aside from that, pretty awesome. I didn't get to floor it or anything crazy when I drove the car that I drove because it was brand new with 150 miles on it, but we've already seen videos. The C8 Corvette is faster than a turbo upgraded Supra. So that is nothing to laugh about. That is a fast car. The dual clutch transmission is ridiculous. I really enjoyed that, but I don't know, there's not much to hate on this car. Exterior, it just looks like a supercar. I was behind the Corvette when we were driving to this area to film it, and I'm looking at it like, is this a McLaren, $300,000 McLaren? No, it's an $80,000 Chevy. Like, that's unreal. Wheel choices are all right. I'm not the biggest fan. These ones that this car had, I think they look good. The carbon flash is a good color. Overall, not really much to hate on the outside. The only thing, the front lip you get on the Z51 is just plastic. You can get a carbon fiber one. I've only seen that once so far, but the plastic's all right. It looked good enough, and it's definitely gonna get scratched up and kind of beat up and replaced probably. So that's probably why it's just kind of cheap plastic. But I mean, it looks good. The front end there, you got the more carbon flash, or I think that might be just gloss black. Everything just looks really, really good on it. So as we're still looking at the outside of the car, we'll jump to talking about some pricing and stuff. The only thing I'm not the biggest fan of is the pricing, and it's not because of the car, it's because of the people. When the car first came out, base price under 60 grand. Typical internet, you hear one little thing and you run with that. So everybody ran with it's less than 60 grand, and then they went over all the amazing things that the car had to offer. And as much as, yeah, you can get this car for 60 grand, I wouldn't spend 60 grand on a car that doesn't have hard drive navigation, parking sensors, heated seats or cooled seats or whatever, no active differential, suspension, all that stuff is missing in the $60,000 one. So honestly, that's kind of a waste of money. And even if you are buying that car to track it, you need the Z51, which is another 5 grand. And then if you're gonna track it, you need magnetic suspension, that's another 1,800. So realistically, it's a $70,000 car. The base price, not really many people are gonna be buying that in all honesty. But for 60 grand, that still is a heck of a good looking car and it's still super cool. But just for me, when you're putting the money there, I mean, I'd spend the extra 10 grand. And I did build a 1LT, whatever the base model is, with a few things that I really would like. And the one I built was like 68,000 bucks. So for that, that's the cheapest one that I could possibly get into. One heck of a car. So pricing is insane. They're going for a sticker for everyone who pre-ordered one. If there are a few sitting for sale, people are paying like 10 to 20 grand over. And of course, right now with the delayed production, I mean, it's just kind of a pain in the butt. Mike's car is delayed, so it's probably gonna be closer to summertime, which really sucks. And then usability with the key fob there, you can pop the front and rear trunks open, which is really nice to see. The remote start, this is one of the first cars remote start worked every single time. When we film review videos, half the time it's like the 5th try getting them to work. This thing worked super good. The door handle, I always think it's in the way right corner. You can see that cut right there. That's me moving my hand to where it really was. So that just takes a little bit getting used to. Interior now with the Corvette, my goodness, it is insane. That blew me away. Just the quality of it, the fit and finish, the layout. It's crazy that that is an $80,000 car we're looking at. But all the leather was really nice. You even had carpeting in the actual little storage compartment in the door panel. The aluminum is real. Like, it's really, 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 really nice. It's crazy that the price point of this car and what you get on the inside. The only thing I don't like is still the center buttons that you see in the center. My first reaction when I checked out the pre-production car, I didn't like how bulky it seemed. It seemed like if you're in the passenger seat, you're just sitting in a tub, everything's like eye level, and you can't touch anything, can't use anything. And I thought as the driver, it just felt like that's just weird. After driving it and spending some time with it, the actual bar itself is fine. Like, I don't care about how big it is or anything. It's nice. However, I don't like all the buttons still. There's just too many buttons. I don't know, when you look at it when you're driving, it's just, you have to like look at each individual button and figure out which one's which. So I'm not a fan of that. And I saw TJ Hunt's video when he made a video about things he didn't like about it. And he had mentioned when you're driving, you gotta like pay attention and look at the buttons to figure out which one's what. So still not the biggest fan of that. The gauge cluster is pretty cool. It definitely lags though. When you change from touring to sport mode or track mode or whatever, it's like a second or two delay. So that is kind of, I don't know why it would lag that bad. I mean, even looking at my 10-year-old technology in the GTR, it doesn't lag like that. So that's a little disappointing, the lag that you see. Sometimes it's quicker than others. But I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world. And then the actual graphics, honestly, I think there's a little bit too much information on it. There's just so much going on. I wish it wasn't as busy. I like with my Toyota Supra, it's super simple. All you see is the tach, the gear, and the speed. And then when you're using navigation, your turn-by-turn directions come up on the screen in the center as well. So I like that. I think there is too much information because you're not gonna read all that while you're driving. I certainly don't. I'm fine with just having a basic mode, which I think you can. It might be this car or another car where you can turn all that stuff off. Not 100% sure on that, we'll have to see. But I don't know, I like it simpler in all honesty. Steering wheel, so the spokes come down a little bit. It is a little odd to have your hands at a little bit lower position than you're used to, but you get used to it and it's not too bad. And then the heads-up display works really well. I like the image that you get on it, the different tachs, the speed, the gear, so you have all the information there. So maybe that kind of makes it to where I don't mind all the info on the actual gauges, because if you're looking at the heads up, that's kind of what you'd see in your peripheral anyway. So that's not bad. The dashboard layout is so cool. All the little floating pieces, the sharp lines, the stitching in the leather. I mean, is this a Lamborghini? I don't know. It looks that good. I like the screen. It's nice in HD. Seem to work fine. The climate controls, I am glad you can use them on the screen. Like we said with the center, there's just so many buttons. You really got to look at them to figure out which one does what. And even if you just were touching them without looking, there's not really a good indicator to know where you are on the stack and which one does what. So still not a fan of that. The performance data recorder is really cool. You actually plug in an SD card in the glove box to record everything. So that's really convenient, that works. The camera systems are super good, very HD everything. I mean, there's just not much to hate on this car. I really, really, really like the car. So that's kind of, I guess, my whole overall opinion of the inside and out. I like the gear selector. I think that's cool. I mean, everything about it just, it really does step it up a notch comparing it to even supercars that are, Lamborghinis and McLaren level. It's one heck of a car. And then the different trim levels, this was a 3LT that I checked out. For me, I don't need a 3LT. My brother did not order a 3LT just because The extra luxuries we don't really care about. The headliner in the 3LT is the suede, which is very nice, and this spec made this car just feel so luxurious and premium. Mike's spec is going to be a little bit more on the sporty side, being black and red on the inside, and you will just have a fabric headliner, which again I don't really care about, neither does he. As far as the storage goes for the inside, the glove box is pretty good, the center console is good, the front and rear trunk you really can't complain with. The fact that it's a convertible no matter what, I mean, that's an awesome feature. You can fit that roof in the rear trunk, which is nice. And then when you go up to the front of the car, the little button on the front bumper, I mean, who does that? Like, why don't more cars have something like that? So that opens up and you have a nice sized trunk there. For me, that's more space than I would ever need. I just don't need a car with a lot of trunk space. And that is a huge space. You can see, got my camera bag in there. I mean, that's easily 2 good backpacks, and either 2 other bags will easily fit there. And then the trunk, yes, I fit a golf bag in. I brought my own golf bag to do this clip in the video. But 1 golf bag easily fits, 2 would absolutely fit, just looking at the layout and everything. I can see how the high wing would get in the way if you had that. I'm not the biggest fan of the high wing, in all honesty. I think it just looks too aggressive for the rest of the car being normal. If the car had like a bigger body kit or bigger lips or something on it, I could see that. I like the Z51 wing a lot, it looks really good. And it's not too in the way to where you can still get into the trunk very easily. So now driving the Corvette, honest opinion, amazing. Like, everything just felt really premium, solid. The fit and finish was amazing. Everything I touched felt like something expensive, and the view around, especially with the gray on the black, I could see that in my peripheral while driving, and it just felt special. It felt like something else, something like a Lamborghini. And I've driven the Huracan Evo quite a bit now, and that's a $350,000 car. And to say that this car literally feels just like it as far as the quality and fit and finish, that is just, again, mind-blowing. The actual driving transmission was lightning quick, very nice and responsive. I didn't feel any lag with it or anything. It felt the way a dual clutch should. It felt mechanical. I had 100% control over the transmission. And I know a lot of people do hate there's no manual, which is crazy to think there's no manual for a Corvette. But in all honesty, as far as sales go, it is stupid to make a manual in today's market. And it's honestly, it's our fault. People who are buying new cars are buying automatics instead of manuals. Manufacturers see that and they're not going to make manuals. But at least this has a transmission to where you do have full control, and honestly, you probably couldn't quite keep up and have the same precision with a manual. It still would be cool. Yes, it'd be fun and cool, but it's kind of the time we're living in, so it is an automatic, but it's a good dual clutch, so we can't complain with that. The suspension, ride quality, and everything with the magnetic suspension I really liked. It seemed to do the job well, and I actually noticed a big difference between the most comfortable mode and then the track mode. A lot of cars I'll drive that have that system in it, and you just don't notice a difference. Like, even the C7 Corvette I've driven that had that, and I really didn't notice any difference. This car, it was a night and day difference, just like I see in the Supra and the GTR, so I liked that. The handling and steering and like the visibility of it was ridiculous. You literally feel like your feet are on the floor in front of you. It's such a cool feeling in that car. You don't have this huge hood or anything, and you can see the fender arches, which is a nice aggressive look, and it just felt like I had full control. I was on top of the car, and you really are in a cockpit in it, and I really like that a lot. As far as power goes, again, I didn't really get to floor it, so I don't know that as far as my own personal experience, but like I said, other videos, they seem to be really, really fast cars. When Mike gets his, we'll definitely do some racing. I'm excited to see the C8 against the GTR. So with my GTR, full stage 3 setup, straight pipe, bigger intakes, and bigger injectors, we're gonna do some runs with that car on the valet tune, which is very slow, my low boost, my high boost, and then doing rolling launch control. I honestly think the only way I'm actually gonna gap the Corvette is using the rolling launch, because I think my turbo lag is gonna hinder me enough to where he takes off, and it's gonna take me at least to like 120, 130 to catch back up. So I'm excited to see that, and that'll definitely be fun to film. The seats looked good, they're so comfortable. Like the GT2 seats, or whatever they call them, really nice seat option. But yeah, that's kind of, I guess, everything to talk about my honest review of the Corvette C8. It is a game changer. Every single other sports car is going to have to look at this car, in all honesty, even if it is something that doesn't compete with it directly, like the Supra. Everyone loved to compare them, even though they're not competitors at all. But yeah, $12,000 difference, similarly equipped. The Corvette's a better car for 12 grand more, hands down, I'm not going to lie. And when you look at other cars like the M4 CS I drove for $106,000, a car like that, I don't know why you'd spend that much money on a car that looks like a normal BMW. $300,000 Lamborghini. The same thing. Every single car has to step up so much to compete with what the Corvette has to offer, because the Corvette has performance, the looks, the quality, the technology. It has it all. I'm not even kidding. So I don't know. I don't want to sound like a fanboy because this is the honest, real opinion, but seriously, every car has to look at it. And I really hope Dodge comes out with a new Viper, something that looks like a Ferrari F12 but is affordable. I hope Acura redoes the NSX, makes that down to like less than 100 grand, ditching the hybrid stuff, makes that something to compete with this. I hope Nissan redoes the GTR to make it same thing. Like, I hope we have normal car companies, you know, the American cars. Ford should make a mini GT or something. Like, I want to see more cars taking this approach where you have a full-on supercar and yet it's under 100 grand. Like that's a crazy new market. And you know, the budget supercars from 10 years ago, like the Nissan GTR, that's been an iconic car for a decade for a reason. The new C8 is going to do the same thing. So I want to see more of that. I'm liking the way this car is going. I cannot wait for a Z06, which is something is on my radar. Honestly, I can see picking up a used Z06 at the time. I don't really want to spend money on a new one, but maybe in like 4 or 5 years, I'll get like a 21 or 22 with Z06. So I like it, not much to hate on it. If you are in the market for one, too late, they're already sold out for 2020, but put your name on the list and literally pre-order a 2021, because it is a car you can't afford to not own if you can afford the car. That may sound weird, but if you have the opportunity to get one, because you will not regret it. But that's my opinion as far as the 2020 C8 Corvette. I've had some seat time in it. I got to check them out quite a bit. Mike has one on order. It'll be here maybe 2 or 3 months once all this stuff finishes up and we get back to normal life. But I'm so excited to see it. I got to see the Elkhart Blue in real life. It is beautiful. Like, you can't hate on it. There's so many good things about it. So that is it for today's video, my honest, full opinion of the C8 Corvette. Comment down below, what do you think of this style of video? I think I'll do this on all like the cool stuff. So maybe just not, you know, a basic sedan or something, but anything cool and kind of unique. But that is it, guys. Give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content to come, and leave your comments down below of what you thought of today's video. So that is it, guys. I'll see you next video.